Hey guys, hey Marvin, hi Anne, good evening. Hi, can you guys hear me? Is my connection okay or hi Len, good evening. Hi Thelma, good evening. Hi, can someone confirm if I'm connected or
Yes, sir, you are connected.
all right, great, thank you so much. Okay, so we'll wait for the rest to join. Thank you AB for coming. Is this your first time joining our talks or
No, sir, this is my second time.
I see. Thank you. And Marvin, glad to see you back. And hi, Javier. Thank you for joining. Okay, let's see.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, good evening. You're calling in from Spain, right? Is that right? Or
Right.
just right? Okay. Hi. So I hope everyone is doing fine. I think it's pretty, at least here in the southern part of the Philippines, it's super warm. But I hope everyone is safe and wearing their masks. So still outside because I'm seeing less people wearing their masks. I hope you're still following the rules. So, but anyway, we'll just wait for the rest, and they can just join in. So we'll start tonight. We're gonna read the story of the book, Something You Forgot Along the Way. This is the book, and this has lots of really good stories on it. I think we have about 65 stories in here. This is number. mm, This is number 18. So we're gonna read this and share our inputs on the story. We do this every Wednesdays. And I would like to ask for at least two volunteers to read, if that's okay. Does anyone want to read?
I can start, Kevs.
Okay, thank you, Len. Thank you so much.
Oh, there. Abuse that is not accepted. Shakyamuni and the heretic. One day, a young heretic approached Shakyamuni and began to heap abuse on him. Shakyamuni listened silently, and when the heretic had finished, asked gently, "Do you sometimes invite your relatives over to your home on festival days and entertain them?" "Of course I do." "What if they didn't eat the food you served them? What would you do then?" "Nothing. The food would just be left over." "You gave me much abuse just now, but if I decline to accept it, whose will it be? Even if you decline to accept it, it's still yours since I gave it to you."
Okay, thank you so much, Len. Who would like to read the next part? Does anyone want to volunteer or?
Me, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no, for if I do not accept it, you have given me nothing at all. Well, then, explain what it means to accept or not accept. Accepting what is offered means yelling back at someone who yells at you, returning anger for anger, hitting back when someone hits you, or fighting back when someone picks a fight. If you remain indifferent when you have not accepted anything, do you mean that you never lose your temper no matter how you are abused? Solemnly, Sakyamuni replied with a verse: "The wise man knows no anger, though storms may rage against him. His mind is placid and calm. Answering anger with anger is for fools alone to do. I was a fool. Please forgive me." The young heretic prostrated himself in tears before Sakyamuni and swore to follow him.
Okay, thank you. Thank you guys for reading. Thank you, Len and AB. So Um, this is a really great story, and I'm sure you've already heard this. Could be on the internet. So basically, it's Sakyamuni Buddha. If you have joined the basics of Buddhism, you know who Sakyamuni Buddha is. But Sakyamuni Buddha was traveling in a village, and people were happy to see him, really happy. I would be happy to see him. I would be really honored. But then there's this heretic. A heretic is a person who is, you would call, a nonconformist. Someone who disagrees with almost anything uh, that is a standard or a norm. So you would say that they're kind of negative people because they just wanna oppose. They keep on opposing. Now, of course, when we oppose, sometimes it can be mindful, sometimes it's beneficial, but the heretics are there mostly on the negative side. They like to point out what's wrong with people. They like to assume that people are not really um, of good character. So you get the point. So there's this heretic, as shown in the picture, and he was not happy to see Sakyamuni Buddha at all. The rest are happy. Okay, so everyone was happy to see Sakyamuni Buddha and heard his speeches with lots of dedication. However, one young man was not happy at all to see him in the village, and this man was the heretic. Okay, so then you'll see foods here. This is typical in the Filipino culture. When there are festivals, there are lots of food, right? So then Sakyamuni Buddha, um, the conversation went like this. So Sakyamuni Buddha asked the heretic, "Do you sometimes invite your relatives over to your home on festival days and entertain them?" The heretic said, "Of course I do." And what if they didn't eat the food you served them? What would you do then? Nothing. The food would just be left over. So um, he taught the heretic a lesson by giving an example of, in this case, the food. You know. So what if the food was not eaten or accepted? Who does the food belong to? Does it belong to the guests on the festival or on the person who cooked the food? So basically, this also explains the anger, or let's say the abuse. That's why the title is Abuse That Is Not Accepted. So in this case, it it focuses on the anger that in this case the heretic has showed Sakyamuni Buddha. But in general, when we look into our lives, we have received, I'm sure, we have received anger from many people, right? From work, at school, or even just when you wake up. You'll see lots of negative energy. Hopefully not. Sometimes it happens, but you'll see people who are angry for no reason. So we experience this on a regular basis, right? So that's what we're gonna talk about tonight. So, and then a couple of weeks ago, we learned that the opposite of anger is patience, right? Then we learned that patience can be cultivated. No one is born with a short temper, right? We can always cultivate it. So there's no excuse. If you have a short temper now, we can always cultivate it. We can always improve. We can always plant good seeds, plant the good deeds of patience. But what happens when you are on the receiving end of anger, like what Sakyamuni Buddha experienced? So you'll see here a photo of a really angry guy. It looks like he's about to eat a cow or a chicken whole. So have you experienced, if you try to remember a moment or a time when you encountered raging anger, really, really furious, emotion from someone else, what was it? How was it? And how did you react? So this is like a sharing session that we have right now. If someone wants to share, you can unmute your mic and speak, or you can post on Skype. So if you remember a moment, a really stressful moment when someone lashed their anger against you, um, if you're willing to share that, you're very welcome to. Or if something if this is something that recently happened, maybe this is the best time to really learn from this topic. So does anyone want to share? Or oh, Len is typing, I think. So
No, Kevs. I think
oh,
I just
go ahead.
remembered, but it's not me on the receiving end of the rage anger,
Uh,
but it is me giving the raging anger. I think something like that
oh, I see. I
to
see.
someone else. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I can't quite remember if there was ever anyone who gave me a raging anger. Maybe the nearest was a teacher from back then because I failed to submit some requirements, but that's it. But other
Mm.
than that, I can't remember anything else. Yeah.
Wow, you really must live a peaceful life in there. No, you can't remember any experience recently, so that's nice. So yeah, normally this happens at work. Sometimes, and this is part of a deeper topic about human suffering. Sometimes we encounter people who we dislike, especially at work, and so sometimes people lead different lives. That we have individually we experience life in a different way. So sometimes people will just lash out their anger to us, and we're left there wondering, why are they even angry in the first place, right? So, and the issue here with anger is it's contagious. Once you show anger to someone, it's easy to mirror the same emotion or the same anger. So if I express my anger to someone, the other person will most likely be angry, and it's going to be a continuous chain. See, like this photo of matches burning. Now, unless someone is mindfully um, assessing the situation and stepping back and being calm, then the chain will most likely continue, you know? And I'm sure you have noticed this in any social situation. Like if someone goes in with a very bad mood and is super angry, then everyone else seems to just catch the same emotion, right? Don't you agree? Okay, Anne says, I worked in the hotel industry for a long time and handled very difficult guests with short temper.
Yeah.
Of course, it would be upsetting, but I do try to put myself on their shoes and show empathy. Even sometimes guests may say hurtful words. The key is not to take it personally. Yes, that's really good advice. Especially at work, you don't take things personally because it's just work. And if you come to think of it, everyone is so busy with their tasks, with their projects, with their task list, that if you do something offensive to the person, they will most likely forget it the next day, right? But sometimes we take it too personally, that we, and then when that happens, it grows even more. You know, the issue becomes deeper, and then we plant hatred to the other person. So it's really good. This is really good advice. Don't take work matters personally. It's just work. I mean, I'm not saying that you take your work for granted. No, because we need to be grateful for our work. But these encounters of being lashed out by anger, don't take it personally, but instead try to reflect on it. And that's what I'm going to cover later. Okay, so it's Anne says it even applies to workmates too. Yes, that's right. That's right. And Marvin is typing. Len, you were saying something or okay. So going back to this photo, you'll see the matches, right? They're like a chain reaction. Now, unless someone mindfully steps away and would
No, I wasn't. Because I wasn't. Sorry.
okay, it's okay. Thank you. Unless someone mindfully takes charge of the situation and diffuses the anger, it will be a chain reaction in most social situations, especially at home or at work. Okay, so here are 5 ways to deal with angry people. Number one, we need to stay calm. Keep your voice calm when they're upset. Now, of course, um, it's easy to match someone else's energy. If they're angry, then we also get angry. It's easy to mimic or copy their emotions, right? So number one is to stay calm, like what Sakyamuni Buddha did. He remained his calm pose, very calm, and then stay safe. Now, this is really important because you want to make sure that you're safe as well. Because when someone is angry, they have the tendency to to hurt us. Now, of course, we're not. Hopefully, it won't happen, but there's a chance that due to their anger, they lost um, their judgment becomes poor, and then they might hurt us. So that's a different case. We should not take that kind of abuse. We need to be safe. So there are a lot of ways for us to be safe. We want to make sure that when we talk to the person, there are people available around us, because this is something that's been happening a lot. Not just in other countries. Here in the Philippines, there are a lot of abuse cases. So be safe, because it's really important. Physical abuse is definitely something that should not be tolerated. So you need to stay safe. Number three, be open to listening to what they have to say. So again, by being calm, you try to listen what they want to say. And this is also really important if you have, or you're one of the causes of why they are angry. And then number five, acknowledge their distress, but don't feel like you have to back down if you disagree. Your opinion is important too. So like what Takemundi Buddha did here, he still expressed his opinion, right? He still gave the heretic a lesson in an interesting way. So he didn't just quiet down and just tolerated the anger. He also taught the heretic a lesson. So that's so amazing, right? Okay, and then what if we are the ones at fault? Have you guys experienced this? Like someone is angry with you and it's really our fault. We made them become angry. It's important to note that a person can be justifiably angry, yet express the anger in an unjustifiable way. So, for example, if I spill a drink on someone at a party, it makes perfect sense that they would be angry at me, right? That response is perfectly justified. What would be unjustified and unacceptable is if they express the anger by yelling at me, swearing at me, or becoming physically aggressive. So there's a difference between um, the response, because that's normal. Like if someone accidentally, spills a drink at you, or worse, if it's like hot coffee, it's gonna be painful, right? So initially we would be angry, right? Because there's the shock, there's the pain as well that's associated. So it's normal for the other person to be angry. But what would be unjustifiable and acceptable is if they express the anger by swearing at us or hurting us, hurting us aggressively. So if I spill a drink on someone and then they yell at me in response, we can still apologize and offer to buy them a drink or make up for the error. I can tell them I don't appreciate their yelling at me, but still apologize for spilling the drink on them. So this is by still remaining calm, because we know that it's our mistake. um, we we apologize mindfully, but at the same time, inform them that we don't appreciate their reaction, or in this case, if they yell at us. So apologizing is a good deed,
Uh,
even if
Kevs, Trixie has a question.
okay. Let's see.
Oh, sorry, it's in the Zoom chat.
Okay, Trixie asks, "What should you do when you are so calm? Ignore her anger, but because of that person grabs your hair and pulls it." Yes, this is in line with us with our safety. This is actually already a form of abuse. Physical abuse. So we should not tolerate this, Trixie. So if this is in the workplace, I would recommend to mindfully escalate this to human resources, because this is unprofessional. So again, we need to be safe. That's why it's in here. We need to stay safe. Make sure that when we are communicating with the other person, that we are surrounded by people, so they can serve as witnesses. And if there are witnesses, chances are the other person won't hurt us, because they might still hurt us, but the chances are decreased, right? So this usually happens in the workplace. I haven't seen an actual situation of people pulling hairs and fighting in the office. It's just on movies, right? But have you guys experienced this or seen an actual, physical abuse in the office? I think it's quite rare, right? But it does happen. It can happen. So you need to stay safe. You need to really analyze the situation. Check if the other person um, is stable mentally. Because you'll never know. Just try to be safe. You need to establish the sense of safety first. Is that okay, Trixie? Thank you, Len. So, apologizing is a good deed, even if the other person does not accept it. Let's see Skype. Yes, thank you, Sandy. It's because it's really important, right? Safety. We need to prioritize our safety first as well, because it's super important. So, apologizing is a good deed. So, regardless of what the offense you made to a person, even if they don't accept it, it's still a good deed, because our own good deeds will go back to us. So if we apologize sincerely with our heart, then even if the other person don't accept it, or even if they reject us and keeps on ignoring us, that's okay. Just apologize. You did your part. Okay. So that's pretty much it. But I want to go back here to the story on this quote. So solemnly, Sakyamuni replied, here's his reply: "The wise man knows no anger. Though storms may rage against him, his mind is placid and calm. Answering anger with anger is for fools alone to do. So this inspires us to, to really be cultivating, patiently cultivate um, the good deed of patience, because it's not easy to overcome anger, and there's a deeper reason why we have anger. And I think a couple of weeks ago I mentioned this. There's a deeper reason why, a deeper source, of our anger. If you would like to know more about that, feel free to set up to private message me or Len on Skype or Facebook, and we'll be more than happy to set up a chat or a one-on-one call about anger and why where it comes from, really, what's the source of our anger. But with patience, when we cultivate it with patience, um, regularly, we can be more mindful with our anger. It is possible. I know I've met a lot of people in Japan who are also following the Buddhist path. Len is a great example. Yeah, she's so calm. She has a really calm personality. So, and I'm sure that most of you guys here also have a calm personality, right? So we can say that. So, like, Glenn is really good with maintaining her calm voice, you know. Um, and then, so, but the important thing to remember here
Thank you.
is, you're welcome, Len. The important thing here to remember is we're just human, okay? So if you feel like you're having problems um, cultivating patience, just tell yourself you're human, and then you just assure yourself that one day you can do this. You're taking the steps, and just don't be too hard on yourself. Apologize yourself if you have lashed out anger to someone. Then that's the time that we can reflect on ourselves, what we can do better next time so that it won't happen again. So that's what's really important. Don't what do you call this, don't put too much pressure on yourself if in case you burst out on anger. That's normal. We're human. The important thing is that we keep on reflecting on ourselves, right? Right, Sandy says I'm not, but I'm working on it. Yes, that's the most important thing. Baby steps. So, and there's also, I just want to remind everyone that Sakyamuni Buddha is of course already a Buddha, so we would expect him to be really calm. With what he did was a perfect way of showing us about being calm, and being able to mindfully teach the other person the lesson, right? So in the end, the heretic asked for his forgiveness. He did a good deed by asking for forgiveness, and then he became Sakyamuni Buddha's follower in the end. The heretic was moved by Sakyamuni Buddha's compassion during that time. So in the end, he became a follower. Okay, so do you guys have any other questions? We still have a few minutes left if you want to share something. But I do want to share that for the newcomers here, for the new people who have joined, we do this Wednesday discussion, well, every Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Based on this book, and we also have other lectures that are hosted by my Buddhist teacher Frank and Len. So we sometimes talk about these topics: the law of cause and effect, the eight minds, self-reflection, just to name a few. So I would recommend you guys to keep on listening to these lectures. The announcements are posted on Skype, and please also join our Facebook group as well for more announcements. So if you guys don't have any questions right now, you can always ask them on Skype. And we are going to close this session with a phrase a day. Today is the 17th. Let's all have a dream. So thank you guys for coming and joining tonight. Hope to see you again next time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, AB. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you, Isabel. Javier, thank you. Gracias. KL, thank you. Marvin, thank you. Mara. Sandy, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Suzette, for joining. Thelma, hi, Thelma. Thank you for joining. See you next time.